2.2.3 Group 3 Letters whose authorship is attributed to well-identified deceased individuals who were not authors of published work. The third group comprises thousands of letters attributed to ordinary but well-identified deceased individuals who supposedly sent letters to family and friends. The regular reunions where Javier would psychograph these letters took place more ostensibly between 1967 and 1987 on Friday and Saturday nights in a modest spiritist center in the city of Uberaba, Minas Gerais. Javier received the public from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. when he talked to the dozens of people who were waiting for a consultation, always for free. During this brief chat, he learned their names and those of the deceased and, eventually, heard comments about the departed. In some cases, during these conversations, Javier reported the presence of deceased relatives, citing their names. Other times, he would refer to facts related to the deceased's death or family problems. Those who couldn't talk to Javier while in the line would sit in the audience of 200 to 300 people and patiently wait for a message from their loved ones. In a few curious cases, the family did not even go to Uberaba requesting messages. Javier simply received the communication, which was then delivered to the unaware family. After these brief interviews with families, Javier would prescribe treatments for those in need while under the alleged influence of the spirit of Bezerra de Menezes. Finally, around midnight, he would start writing the letters. Those sessions easily went far into the night, many times ending at around 4 a.m. Each night, the medium psychographed around 5 letters. He then read them to the public and handed them to the respective family. The messages usually contained much private information about the deceased and their family, significantly affecting those who received them. As written by a witness, these are moments of undisguised emotion for many, of victory over perplexity from others, and the shake of skepticism for some, and no doubt some disappointments because, according to the expression of the medium, the phone only rings from there to here and not from here to there, on the grounds that the deceased themselves used Javier to transmit the messages, and it was not up to Javier to evoke them. Some information in the letters was known to the families and friends. Other pieces were known only to the supposed author of the writings but unknown to the families. It is estimated that the medium produced around 10,000 of these private letters, many of which were compiled and published into about 150 books. The movie The Mothers of Chico Xavier, premiered in 2011, dramatizes 3 of these cases, and a documentary produced in 2010 shows interviews with some of the families. Analyses of their content reveal recurrent patterns in the messages. Many of the letters asked the parents to stop crying for the child who had died, which made the spirit's healing difficult in the spiritual dimension. They also suggested that parents convert mourning and grieving into service to the needy. Some deceased claimed that writing texts was a complex and imperfect process. Others claimed meeting with previously dead relatives and talking about the hope of a reunion in the afterlife, asking forgiveness for murderers, or acknowledging one's fault, or error in cases of suicide and reckless deaths. Some talked about the recollection of a past life to justify the cause of a past death, brought messages to other families, requested debt payment, and verified paternity. In general, there were no cases in which the deceased was angry or dissatisfied because the letters were intended to comfort the family. Strikingly, many of them provided the cause of death in rigorous detail, or even an alternative version of it, and descriptions of the moments that preceded death. In addition, letters from the same author written on different dates contain the same stylistic elements and figures of speech, as recognized by family members. Another notable feature that drew attention to some of Javier's psychographs was the presence of signatures that resembled the deceased's. To be trustworthy, such comparison must be performed by a forensic handwriting analysis in a technical investigation wherein several points are verified, such as the tracing, speed, direction, connections, alignment, spacing, and angulation of the letters. Forensic handwriting analysis was applied in 1978 to a message written in Italian and attributed to Ilda Mascaro Saulo, an Italian woman who had died in Rome the previous year. According to the forensic examination, the handwriting switched between Javier's and the communicator's, but contained many irrefutable graphic characteristics, including those of the signature, sufficient to reveal and identify Mrs. Saulo as the author. Among the constellation of objective and personal knowledge contained in several letters psychographed by Javier, we can cite first names, full names, nicknames, secrets, typical words, addresses, contexts, dates, and geographic references. Some letters even contain passages written in a language known by the deceased, such as in English, Italian, German, Spanish, and transliterated Hebrew. The amount of information contained in the letters is of such magnitude that it would be impractical to include it in this essay. However, we present below a selection of a few examples, along with the verification of the identified information as gleaned from interviews with family members. Example number 1, excerpt from a letter attributed to Carlos Henrique Branco Rodriguez, April 17, 1982. Grandpa Francisco. Open comment A. Francisco was the name of the paternal grandfather of the communicator. Close comment, in order to better identify himself, recommends that I tell Papa Helio that he is still his grandson's dog. Cachorrao. Open comment B. The nickname Dog was the affectionate way in which grandson and grandfather treated each other. Close comment. Example 2. Excerpts from a letter attributed to Germano Sestini, May 13, 1978. I remembered the Bella Vista farm. Open comment A. Germano spent his youth at the Bella Vista farm in the city of Cravinhos. Close comment, the beautiful Felicidade farm. Open comment B. Later, Germano went to live at the Felicidade farm in the city of São José do Rio Preto. Close comment. And I wanted to be a young man again. Open comment C. Germano died at the age of 83. Close comment. I wanted to start over, weeding the earth and then walking little by little. Mariquinha. Open comment D. Maria Perini Sestini, also known as Mariquinha, is the widow of the communicator. Close comment. I reviewed everything. The birth of our children. Hilario, Martha, João, Hilda, Alceu, Germano, Gerson, Maristela. Open comment E. Hilario Sestini, Martha Sestini dos Santos, João Durvalino Sestini, Hilda Sestini Grisi, Alceu Sestini, Germano Sestini Filho, Gerson Sestini, and Maristela Sestini were their 8 children. Close comment. My God. Everything had passed as quickly as if the existence of more than 80 years had been just 8. Open comment. C. Germano died at the age of 83. Close comment. Hilario asked me to calm down. Open comment. F. Hilario, his firstborn, was the only one who had already died. Close comment. Example number 3, excerpt from a letter attributed to José Fonseca Guaraná de Barros, October 15, 1988. Despite recognizing that I am aware of this, I visit Eloisa, Ricardo, and Beatriz. Open comment A. Eloisa de Barros Spagola Hermida, Ricardo Faria G. de Barros, and Beatriz de Barros were children of the communicator. Close comment. Whenever it is possible for me. At first, everything was too much for me. Now, however, having time, I visit the Laranjeira Street, the Palinka Avenue, and the Tabapua Street. Open comment. B. Street names where they lived, in the cities of Rio de Janeiro, Campos, and Sao Paulo, respectively. Close comment, where our children have located their home, especially when they remember their dad, currently in another life. All are well, and I ask Jesus so that they don't get lost in excessive comfort. Example number 4, excerpts from a letter attributed to José Roberto Pereira da Silva, September 29, 1973. The full letter is presented in Appendix A. Since that last morning of June 8th, open comment A, José Roberto Pereira da Silva died on June 8, 1972. Close comment, the longing has been among us, but love grew and grows more and more. I remember, dear mother, Dad working hard to save for the future. Open comment B, José's father was a hard-working and wealthy businessman. He worked 14 hours per day for 30 years, having thus accumulated significant savings for the family's future. Close comment, I remember him asking me to put all my attention in my studies as he dreamed of a hospital where a career in medicine was waiting for me to follow my calling of being close to the sick and needy. Open comment C, José's father wanted him to become a doctor to look after the poor and sick children. Close comment. I implore him not to get discouraged and not to get tired. Open comment D, José's father was experiencing severe depression and was having suicidal thoughts after his son died. These events were not shared with anyone in the family. Close comment. Besides our dear Sandra. Open comment E, Sandra Pereira da Silva, José's only sibling. Close comment, we have other hearts to help. Don't for a moment think of me as someone smashed by the accident. Open comment F, José died in a train crash going to Moji. Close comment, Dad, listen to my scream. I did not die. Work, my father. Keep your vitality of a man of integrity. Open comment. G, José's father had stopped working since his son died. Close comment. Do not wish to die to be with me. Open comment. D, José's father was experiencing severe depression and was having suicidal thoughts after his son died. These events were not shared with anyone in the family. Close comment. Because I am still living to be with you, each day more encouraged to fight in favor of good. Don't go looking and asking for me in tears in that corner of the earth where my picture has been filed away. Open comment H, José's father would frequently go to the cemetery to cry at his son's tomb, sometimes 3 times a day. Close comment. The train from Mogi on June 8th last year did not bring all the young men here. Open comment I. The train was carrying around 1,000 students, and 24 died in the crash. Close comment. You wanted me to remain to accomplish your dreams? Open comment C. José's father wanted him to become a doctor to look after the poor and sick children. Close comment. However, I am not dead, Father. I am alive, and I will work with your hands. I still remember what you told me as you recalled the days of your childhood. Open comment J. José's father had an impoverished and deprived childhood. He used to tell his son that, in the highly deprived rural area in the northeast of Brazil, where he spent his childhood, children would die from the lack of doctors and medical resources. José's mother, the only one who attended this meeting, was not aware of this private conversation between father and son. Close comment. You wanted a son working in a hospital to assist the needy children and to satisfy the needs of the ill that are afflicted without resources. Open comment L. José's father said he would build a hospital so his son could work as a doctor. Close comment. And who said I am not going to help? From conversations, now I know more about our Maquiné Cave. Open comment M. Maquiné Cave, a famous touristic attraction in Brazil located at Cordisburgo, which José visited once during his childhood. Close comment. And even Father João de Santo Antonio. Open comment N. Father João de Santo Antonio was a priest, founder of Cordisburgo, the birth town of José's grandmother. Close comment. Who our family always honored with devotion. Open comment. Oh, the priest had baptized Jose's relatives, and he was a friend of old members of the family. Close comment. Came to see me and hug me in the name of the affection of our ancestors. Grandpa Yanez, open comment. P. Afonso Yanez, Jose's great-granduncle, had already died. Close comment. Received me as soon as I needed support. I am saying as soon as because after the fall from the train, it was as if I had taken a strong tranquilizer. I slept deeply. In my dreams, I was in the railroad car, joyfully talking to my friends about the things we were planning for the next vacation. Open comment. Q. The train that crashed was known as the students' train because it was used by students commuting to the university in Mogi. Students used to play cards and share lively talk during the journey. Close comment. I continued to sleep as the trip seemed to never end, until it became a nightmare, from which I woke up in a bed at a peaceful hospital, with a band around my head. Open comment R. Jose died from a head injury, the only visible injury to his body. Only Jose's sister and his uncle knew that his head was wrapped in a bandage. Close comment. What really happened? I do not know the details yet. I have the appearance of someone who has suffered a long process of anesthesia, without memory to remember details. Grandpa Yanez and Grandpa Light, open comment. S. Jose Light, first cousin of Jose's grandmother. Close comment. And the nuns, who were friends of my grandmother since her days of devotion to St. Anthony. Open comment T. Jose's grandmother was a devout Catholic. In her hometown, Cordisburgo, there is a traditional celebration of St. Anthony every year, which is part of the cultural heritage of the state of Minas Gerais. Close comment. Help me with affection and blessings, which gives me more strength. Remember, Dad and also Mom, that since my early days at school, the idea of a train was with me. Open comment U. Jose had been a fanatic about trains since childhood, and he chose to study at the University of Mogi das Cruzes, mainly because of the train commute. Close comment. And my preoccupation with time would make me write dates on everything. Open comment V. Jose used to write his name and date on personal objects, papers, newspapers, and other small objects. Close comment. Something inside of me told me my days on earth would be short and that a train was waiting for me for a final trip. Open comment F. Jose died in a train crash going to Mogi. Close comment. Last year it was terrible for me on August 6. Open comment X. Jose's birthday. Close comment. If you can, on my next birthday, open comment X, Jose's birthday, close comment, celebrate our spiritual communion by offering a cake to the children of Lar de Jesus, who were unable to have their own homes. I will be there with you, and we will find much joy. Beto, open comment Y. Beto, as family and friends knew him, was the deceased's nickname, close comment. Jose's parents received around 20 more letters from their deceased son. These, added to several letters attributed to Jose Roberto Pereira Cassiano, were later compiled into a book. Although names are similar, there is no relationship between the two. Another interesting aspect observable in some of the psychographed letters is the so-called drop-in communicators. Drop-in communicators bring unexpected and unknown messages in the letters, normally reporting facts unknown to both the medium and the deceased's family. An illustrative example of this feature is presented in a mediumistic message written by Jair Presente. In the letter, containing his joyful speech marked by his peculiar expressions and slang, Jair reports the presence of another deceased, unknown to the family or to anyone else in the audience. Example number 5. Excerpt from a letter attributed to Jair Presente, July 19, 1975. And another friend by my side is Irineu Leite da Silva, a fine young man who dressed the wooden suit, died on the 7th of last June, 1975. I was among the people working at Flamboyant Park Cemetery when he was considered a person of eternal sleep, but he woke up by us. and although he is fine, he asks for prayers for his parents, Sergio and Rita, and he insists that the close friends be comforted. Comments: no one in the family knew who Irineu Leite da Silva was. Jair's sister, Sueli Presente, decided to call the manager of the Flamboyant Park Cemetery in Campinas, Mr. Renato Mangiatera, who denied the existence of such a person buried at that cemetery. Sueli insisted on the investigation and found an article in a local newspaper stating that Irineu Leite da Silva died on the reported date, June 7, 1975, in a car accident and was buried at the Flamboyant Park Cemetery. She called Mr. Mangiatera again, who was impressed by the new details and perused the cemetery documents. He found out that the victim was in fact buried there but had been erroneously registered as Pirineu instead. Sueli and a journalist visited the cemetery, validating the accuracy of the mediumistic information. Example number 6. Excerpts from a letter attributed to Roberto Muscat, November 16, 1979. Roberto was a 19-year-old Jew who used many transliterated Hebrew expressions in his messages, a typical example of xenography, describing facts and situations typical of Jewish customs. All of these were completely unknown to Xavier, who had to ask for the help of Roberto's father to correctly pronounce the Hebrew expressions and to explain their meaning to the audience present at the session. This and several other letters attributed to Roberto Muscat were compiled in a book by his father. I am touched. A different party in a new environment for the celebration of 20 Novembers on Earth. Open comment A. This message was written the day Roberto would complete 20 years of age. Close comment. I realized that I was moving out of the body, although remaining linked to it when in the midst of the effort to define what I was feeling to be analyzed by my own reason. I clearly heard over me the unforgettable voice of someone saying the saintly words, Baruch Dajan Emet. Open comment to B. In the Hebrew tradition, the final act of the burial ceremony ends with the sentence, Baruch Dayan Emet, which means, blessed be the true judge, or blessed be the judge of the truth. With the same sentence, Roberto was supposedly received by his grandfather in the spiritual world. Close comment, and I knew that this sentence did not come from the family at home. I was then taken over by a strange sensation of well-being, and I heard the words, Leshana haba bi Yerushalayim. Open comment C signifies next year in Jerusalem, a sentence used at the end of some Jewish celebrations. Close comment. I understood that it was a goodbye and slept with the tranquility of a child. He comforted and encouraged me, reestablishing my self-control and self-confidence. When he took me to meet other friends at the place dedicated to prayers within the Broad School Hospital, I cried, touched to see a beautiful group of friends who I didn't know saying the words, Boy Beshalom, open comment D, means come in peace. Close comment. Then these new companions sang the hymn Shalom Aleichem, open comment E hymn welcoming the angels of peace, sung on Friday nights. Close comment. After the song, my grandfather Moises came close to me and showing me the Maguem David, open comment F, David's star, close comment, said, blessing me. May God make you equal to Ephraim, open comment G, means God makes you equal to Ephraim and Menashes, twin brothers, sons of Jacob. This phrase is a traditional paternal blessing. Close comment. And Menashes, open comment G, means God makes you equal to Ephraim and Menashes, twin brothers, sons of Jacob. This phrase is a traditional paternal blessing. Close comment. Tears washed my face while grandfather conducted the Seder, open comment H, the festive supper on the first and second nights of the Passover. Celebrating the Seder was a habit much cultivated by the paternal grandfather before he died. Close comment during which I was allowed to ask my questions. I came to know then that I was in Eretz Israel, open comment I, state of Israel, close comment, or land of rebirth, whose beauty cannot be described. My grandfather says that tomorrow, before the beginning of a new calendar day, we will have our Oneg Shabbat, open comment J, Saturday's joy. Saturday is a sacred day dedicated to spiritual satisfaction and physical rest in his culture, close comment, and we are all very happy. Example number 7, at the end of another letter attributed to Roberto Muscat, February 13th, 1982. The author signed as Rob instead of using his full name. The parents found this signature strange because the son had never previously used it. However, 3 years after Roberto's death, leafing through one of his son's notebooks, the mother found out Roberto used to artistically draw his name as Rob. This piece of information was personal to Roberto and totally unknown to the medium and the family. Example 8, message attributed to Mrs. Ilda Mascaro Saulo, July 7, 1978. Another example of xenography. Ortensio, figli del mio cuore, sono appena arrivato da Roma. Oggi già mi sento un po' meglio. Un bacio in Salvatore, tutta la famiglia. Dio con te, mio figli. La madre, Ilda. Comments. The message reads, Ortensio, son of my heart, I have just come from Rome. Today I feel a little better. Kiss Salvatore and all the family for me. May God be with you, son. Your mother, Ilda. Xavier, however, was illiterate in Italian. Xavier's letters were so full of personal details that they easily convinced the family of their legitimacy. The magnitude of such recognition can be illustrated by some cases in which the letters were used as legal documents in the judiciary system. In the examples described below, the deceased people were shot dead by friends or family members and told an alternative version of the story in the letters, acquitting the defendant. The first case happened in 1976 with the death of 23-year-old Henrique Emanuel Gregoris, who died while playing Russian roulette with his friend João Batista Franca. Amid the distraction and the drinks, João accidentally shot Henrique, who died instantly. The judge decided that there was no intent or guilt, and he acquitted João. Dissatisfied with the decision, Henrique's mother filed an appeal in the Superior Court. Just 2 days after the request was filed, Xavier received a message from Henrique containing the following passage. Tell Mom to suspend the case against João Franca. He is innocent, and this situation is hindering my growth. The medium was then unaware of this homicide process, but personally traveled 250 miles to deliver the letter to Henrique's mother, who asked the attorney to close the case and drop the appeal. Later, Xavier also psychographed another letter from Henrique thanking his mom for this decision. In 1976, 16-year-old Mauricio Garces Henrique was shot dead without witnesses by his best friend, José Divino Nunes, 18, who consistently asserted innocence. The case was solved 2 years later when Xavier requested Mauricio's parents to visit him because he had received a letter attributed to their deceased son. The letter, which bore Mauricio's signature, contained detailed information about the murder scene and emphasized that the shooting was accidental. The letter said that José Divino was not guilty, nor was anybody else in my case. We were playing considering the possibility of shooting a person's reflection in the mirror. When I passed in front of my image reflected in the mirror, without making any movement, the shot hit me. Neither my friend nor I were guilty. As much as Mauricio's parents were seeking justice and trying to incriminate José Divino Nunes, they were astonished by the information contained in the letter and recognized it as being their son's. The experts who reconstructed the events concluded that the version narrated by José was fully compatible with the data provided in the letter without any contradictions. The letter contained a wealth of details about the crime, including forensic information which the family was unaware of, and the probable signature of the dead boy, as stated in the identity document and confirmed by the parents. The judge ultimately considered the document legitimate and declared the defendant not guilty. The third case comprises the story of João Francisco Marcondes de Deus, convicted of murder in 1980 after being accused of shooting his wife, Gleida Maria Dutra. According to João, the gun was accidentally discharged while he was trying to remove it from its packaging, and the bullet hit Gleida in the neck. João left in despair, carrying his wife to a hospital, who died 7 days later. The defendant's preventive detention was declared, and he attempted suicide in jail. Later, while holding a habeas corpus petition, João visited Xavier and received 3 messages from his deceased wife. In every letter, she cleared her husband, described the couple's married life as happy, and gave a short account of the tragic night, confirming that the firing had been accidental. In addition to the psychographed messages, the testimonies of 4 nurses at the hospital also weighed in favor of the defendant. They stated that Gleida herself defended her husband while in hospital. In 1982, João was unanimously acquitted by the jury court.